Ketogenic Goldfish crackers are a classic snack that your keto kid is sure to love. They're cheesy and crunchy and baked in the oven. For this recipe, I'll need egg whites, Parmesan cheese, cheddar cheese, mayonnaise, and coconut flour. Remember that all of these ingredients are weighed in advance. When you're calculating your own child's meal plan, be sure that you're using a gram scale while weighing. The first step for this recipe is we'll need to whip the egg whites. We don't necessarily need to use a hand mixer because you don't need to achieve medium or firm peaks. You only want to aerate it slightly. If you don't have an aerator at home, you can definitely use a whisk and it'll achieve the same consistency. Next, I'm going to mix together the Parmesan cheese, the cheddar cheese, which I've actually already pureed, pulsed in the food processor, so it's very small bits instead of large shreds. You want to be sure that you do this because in the oven while baking, if you don't do this one step, the cheese will actually melt and the mayonnaise and the Parmesan cheese and the egg white, it won't hold together as well. So you want to be sure that you are actually pulsing and mixing in the cheddar cheese. We're now going to mix in the mayonnaise. This serves as one of the binders in this recipe. So when you are adjusting this to your child's personal meal plan, I recommend not substituting the mayonnaise for other fats such as oils or butter. If you do, the fat may seep out in the oven during the baking process. Now I'll mix in the coconut flour. The coconut flour is the carbohydrate in this recipe. If you want to substitute for a different carbohydrate, you can, however, I don't recommend it. This is serving as somewhat of a binder in this recipe. So I don't necessarily recommend it because if you do substitute it out, there is a chance that it may fall apart depending on what you use. Okay, we're going to mix all the ingredients together. Okay, and then we want to season the mixture with a pinch of salt. Don't go too heavy-handed on the salt, but do remember that this is a cheese cracker. So you want it to have a little bit of a salt component inside of it. Okay, mix that in together. Other seasonings that would also taste great in this recipe are onion powder and garlic powder. Okay, now that we've mixed together the keto goldfish crackers, we will put them in goldfish molds. If you don't have a goldfish silicone mold at home, you can of course use a different shape or size. However, we use goldfish so that way they would actually replicate what goldfish crackers are. We do, however, recommend using a silicone mold. The reason is because when it comes out of the oven, it's much easier to pop out. You can just push on the back of it and it'll just fall out of it. However, if you do use an aluminum metal pan, it will be more difficult to remove. You may have to scoop it out of the pan, which you do want to avoid doing in case you leave ingredients behind. Okay, I'm using canola oil non-stick spray. This will prevent from sticking. This recipe uses approximately 2 goldfish molds. However, of course, it will depend on your own child's personal meal plan how many goldfish snacks you get. You can either make multiple small ones or you can make one large one. You want to spread this dough out as thin as possible. The reason is because the thinner you make the batter, the crispier it will be. However, if you do want to achieve a softer consistency, then maybe making one goldfish would be easier for you. All right. Now we have finished the preparation for the goldfish crackers. I'll place them in the preheated 350-degree oven. It takes approximately 15 to 20 minutes to bake. However, do keep an eye on it in the event that it cooks faster because of the heat of your oven. The goldfish crackers are all finished baking for their first time. Now we're going to flip them and place them back in the oven for an additional 10 minutes. This will help them get crispier. If you choose to have a softer goldfish cracker, you may only want to put them in one time. Our goldfish crackers are all finished baking. As you can see, they held their shape very well. Now remove them and transfer them to a plate. You can see they have that nice brown color. And keep in mind, the longer you keep them in the oven, the crispier they will get. I hope your child enjoys this keto food.
These tasty treats can be served with a side of mayonnaise dip to incorporate more dietary fat into your Keto Kids meal plan.